IFSCA Grade A Phase 1 examination is scheduled for 11th of October, and previous year papers can play a very important role if you want to understand pattern and difficulty level with respect to this examination. So as a part of this video, we are going to solve IFSCA Grade A 2024 paper specifically with respect to paper 2 of Phase 1. We are going to see what type of questions were asked. We are also going to analyze the difficulty level, and of course we will also see the answers with respect to this question. Firstly, I am going to deal with the components like finance, economics and social development, as well as the GK component. Then after me, Jalaj sir is going to continue with commerce and accountancy, costing and management components. And this video is going to be very helpful for those aspirants who have actively started their IFSCA Grade A preparation. So be with me till the end of this video. But before we proceed forward, just a small announcement. So these Navratri offers are going on a website where you can save up to 85%. So if you want to go for regulatory bodies examination, so you can go through these courses like RBI, IRDI, IFSCA, NABARD and combo courses are also there. But please remember that this discount, that is 75% off on this regulatory bodies, is valid from 29th of September till 30th of September only. You just have to use this coupon code, which is festival75. I hope it is clear to you. Now coming back to the PYQs, so let us begin with the finance component. So first of all, let me tell you that most of the questions that were asked in 2024 with respect to finance were very easy. You won't find, I would say, extremely difficult questions as a part of this component. So let us solve them one by one. So the first question is, what is the maximum tenure of treasury bills? We know about treasury bills, right? You cover them as a part of your component, which is finance, under the chapter primary and secondary markets, right? So we know that basically treasury bills are short-term debt instruments, and the question is asking about the maximum tenure of treasury bills. So basically the maximum tenure is going to be 364 days. This is the maximum tenure, which is less than 1 year, right? So C is going to be the answer with respect to this question. Apart from that, we know that basically treasury bills are issued for 91 days also. They're issued for 182 days also. But since the question is about the maximum tenure, so C is going to be the correct answer. The next is cash management bill. So you can see similar type of question is asked over here also. Over here they were asking you regarding treasury bills, and from the same chapter they have asked you another question which is again regarding the issuance period, right? So it is asking that cash management bill is issued for option A more than 91 days, option B 91 days, exactly 91 days, option C less than 91 days, option B 120 days, option E between 91 and 182 days. My suggestion is that while I'm reading these questions for you, please pause the video and try to answer it by yourself. Then you can resume the video and afterwards you can see the correct answer. So with respect to this question, the correct answer is going to be less than 91 days, right? Because if you talk about the cash management bills, their maturity period is shorter than the treasury bills, right? And that's why they are also a type of short-term instruments that are issued by the government, so that they can basically meet its temporary mismatch between the cash flow, right? So that is why the cash management bills are issued, and that is going to be the answer, which is a C1. Now question number 3. What is the minimum amount required to issue a zero principal, zero coupon bond, which is a fundraising instrument used by registered non-profit organizations on the social stock exchange? So you must have heard about this zero coupon, zero bond instruments. Basically these are the bonds that do not provide interest payments, right? So that is, I would say, a very specific feature that is there with respect to these type of bonds. So if you talk about, the question is asking about the minimum amount required to issue a zero coupon, zero principal, zero coupon bond, right? So with respect to this one, what is going to be the answer? The correct answer is going to be 50 lakh. So I would say this is a pretty much factual question. If you have covered your textbooks properly, then you must have seen this information, and it is very much factual in nature. Either you know the answer or you do not know the answer. The next is question number 4. Which organization prepares the National Strategy for Financial Inclusion for the period 2019 to 2024? I would say this question is very easy to answer, very straightforward question, and you must have covered it as a part of your financial inclusion chapter. So the correct answer with respect to this question is of course going to be RBI, Reserve Bank of India, right? That prepares this National Strategy for Financial Inclusion so that basically it can target different individuals who come from the marginalized section of the society, and the financial services can be availed to them, right? So that is the idea. The next is, what is the permissible deviation from the inflation target set by RBI's Monetary Policy Committee? Again, a very easy question from inflation chapter. So we know that if you talk about inflation target, what it is basically 4 plus minus 2%, right? And this is what the question is asking about, that is, it is within the range of 2 to 6%, right? And this is what it is asking about, plus or minus 2%, plus or minus 3%, plus or minus 1%, 4% or 5%, right? So the correct answer with respect to question number 5 is going to be what? It is going to be A option, which is 4 plus minus 2%. So A is going to be the answer with respect to this question. I would say a very easy question. The next one, again a very easy question that was asked as a part of this paper 2. Yes, paper 2 of phase 1. So which scheme provides refinancing options for small and micro units? Option A, Stand Up India. Option B, Mudra Yojana. Option C, Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gramin Kaushalya Yojana. Option D, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. Option E, National Urban Livelihood Mission. Now, if you have covered different type of scheme, you would be knowing that if you talk about small and micro units, right? So over here we have the very specific scheme, which is basically Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana, which basically offers loans up to rupees 2 lakh, up to rupees 10 lakh. 10 lakhs to whom? Basically it is offered for non-farm income generating activities, right? Non-farm income generating activities. And you must have heard about it that under this Mudra Yojana, there are different type of slabs with which, you know, the loans are provided. For example, Shishu, Tarun, Kishore, right? So B is going to be the answer with respect to this question. A very important scheme and a very easy question that was asked. Then, when does a forward contract mature? Now, if you talk about forward contract, right? If you talk about forward contract, you must have covered it, right? So if you talk about forward contract, when does it mature? It basically matures on the maturity date. And this maturity date, you must have seen covered that it is also known as the settlement date, not the rate, right? Settlement date. And basically this maturity date can be either in the form of week, it can be in the form of month, and it can even be in the form of year also, depending on what? Depending on basically the contract that has been signed, right? Signed between whom? Of course, between the buyer and the seller. So basically, if you see the option, the options are option A, on the contract initiation date, on the trade date, on the execution date, on the maturity date, and on the contract revision date. So of course D is going to be the correct answer with respect to this question. Question number 8. What is the maximum subscription limit of sovereign gold bonds for a trust, right? So it is asking about a limit with respect to sovereign gold bonds with respect to trust, right? So you must have heard about sovereign gold bonds. Basically, these are nothing but these are the government securities that are issued in denominations of what? In denomination of grams of gold. Right? And why the government is basically issuing it? Basically they act as a substitute for holding physical gold, right? And if you talk about the maximum subscription limit, so basically for the trust, the maximum subscription limit is what? It is basically 20 kg per fiscal year, right? So for this question, what is going to be the answer? It is going to be the C option, which is 20 kgs only. So for question number 8, C is going to be the correct answer. Now the question number 9, what is the free limit under the liberalized remittance scheme? So you must have heard about this scheme by RBI, right, which is with respect to remittances, right? And what is the free limit under the liberalized remittance scheme? So basically the correct answer is going to be $250,000, right? So this is going to be the correct answer with respect to this question. I would say again a very factual information that is there, right? So you must have heard about this liberalized remittance scheme that basically allows the Indian resident to remit their fund abroad for permissible transactions, right? So that is going to be the answer, which is the D. The limit is basically $250,000. Now question number 10. The Stand Up India schemes aim to help scheduled castes and scheduled tribes and women entrepreneurs establish new businesses in which sector? So option A, trading, option B, manufacturing, option C, services, option D, agriculture and allied activities, and option E, is none of the all of the above. So what is the correct answer? The correct answer is going to be the E option, which is basically all of the above. So basically this Stand Up India, it basically helps these scheduled castes, scheduled tribes and women entrepreneurs to establish businesses in all of these sectors, right? So they have this flexibility, and E is going to be the answer with respect to this question. Now question number 11. What is the maximum number of partners allowed in a partnership firm in India? Now if you talk about Companies Act, as per Companies Act, basically what was the earlier limit with respect to partners? It was 20. It was what? It was 20. But later on basically it was increased from 20 to 50. So now it is 50. So C is going to be the answer with respect to this question, right? As per Companies Act 2013. Now question number 12. Under which type of issue will an FPO be classified? This is an easy question. ये easy question है, ठीक है? FPO, IPO आप सभी लोग पढ़ते हो. So it will be which type of issue? Of course it is going to be a public issue, right? So D is going to be the correct answer with respect to this question, because we know that as a part of this FPO, additional shares are issued by the company that is already public listed, right? So that is why D is going to be the answer with respect to this question. Now question number 13. Which of the following is not one of the Pancha Sutra followed by self-help groups? Now if you know about this Pancha Sutra, then you could have answered this question, but I would say this question can be answered using common sense also. So you can see that option E, this is very specific. If you see option A, regular meetings, yes, regular meetings are required as a part of SHGs. Then we have regular savings also. Then we have regular interloaning also among the SHG groups. Then the timely repayment of loans, that is there. But there is no such provision with respect to elected members for every 2 years, which is also again very much specific. We know that Pancha Sutra, they are general provisions, not very specific provisions, right? So E is going to be the correct answer with respect to this question. So these are the type of questions that I would say were asked as a part of a finance component. I would say most of the questions were easy. There were some questions that were too factual. If you know the numbers, you can answer it. If you don't know the numbers, you will have to skip that question. You cannot guess over there, right? Certain questions were extremely easy. Some questions were, I would say, they were from the technical components of finance. But again, if you have covered the syllabus, for example, if you know about forward contract, so this question was, I would say, was basic in nature. So you could have answered this question. But there were some questions, for example, this third question that was there, right? This one. So either you know the answer regarding zero principal, zero coupon bond, or you don't know the answer. So you will have to skip these type of questions. But majority of the questions were, I would say, you could have solved them. So now if you talk about the next component, which is economics and social development. So the first question is, which of the following is an indicator measured in the periodic labor force survey? So over here, the option A is labor force participation rate, option B unemployment rate, option C worker population ratio, option D A and B, and option E all of the above. So basically E is going to be the correct answer. If you have ever seen this periodic labor force survey as a part of newspapers, you must have seen that these are the indicators that are highlighted the most. These are very important indicators as far as this PLFS is concerned, right? So E is going to be the correct answer. Question number 36. Which factors influence the demand for money in the goods market? So basically the option A is disposable income. So disposable income is going to be the answer. Why the disposable income is going to be the answer? Why it could be an important factor with respect to the demand for money in the goods market? Because with respect to when the disposable income it increases, what basically happens with respect to a demand of money? When the disposable income it increases, what happens to the demand of money? The demand of money, it rises. Why it rises basically in the economy? So that basically individuals can use this money with respect to consumption as well as the investments, right? So that is the impact of disposable income. But this option A says only. Now, is it going to be the answer? The answer is no. Disposable income is there, but apart from that, interest rate is also an important factor that influences the demand of money in the goods market. Why is it so? Because basically when the interest rate increases, the opportunity cost of holding money, it also increases. And because of the increase in the opportunity cost, what is going to happen basically, individuals and businessmen, they are going to hold less money in favor of investments, right? And the vice versa case is going to happen when the interest rates are going to fall down. So that's how basically interest rates, they play a very important role in influencing the demand for money in the goods market. So that is why C is going to be the correct answer to this question. Question number 37. In which market structure is there a single seller with high barriers to entry? Very easy question regarding single seller. So yes, it is going to be what? It is going to be monopoly. So D is going to be the correct answer with respect to this question, right? Now question number 38. Which of the following is the role of the World Bank? So if you read all these points, providing financial and technical assistance, yes, the World Bank performs this job. Then reducing poverty, yes, this is also a function by lending money to governments of poorer countries. Then increasing the standard of living in developing countries, of course, this is also an important function. Then offering policy advice, this is also advisory function. So all of the above is going to be the answer, because these are nothing but these are the functions of the World Bank. Question number 39. What primary issue, please note the keyword, it is asking about the primary issue, the primary objective that is there. What primary issue does the Beti Bachao Beti Padhao scheme specifically address as a part of its objective? Option A, MMR. Option B, child education. Option C, declining child sex ratio. Option D, women employment rate. And option E is infant mortality rate. Now basically with respect to this one, C is going to be the correct option, because this is the primary issue that it aims to address. No doubt that it basically targets the girls' education also, right? That can also be the answer. But since the question is about the primary issue, the main intention behind launching of this Beti Bachao Beti Padhao scheme was basically to address this issue of declining child sex ratio. Right? So that is the intention, and that is why C is going to be the answer. Let us say if child sex ratio was not written as a part of the answer and the education was there, then education could have been the correct answer, right? But since both the options are there, so you basically have to choose the most appropriate one, right? And the question is about the primary issue, and the most appropriate option is going to be the C option, which is declining child sex ratio. I hope it is clear to you. Question number 40. Which age group does the All India Survey on Higher Education, which is IFSCA, focus on for calculating the gross enrollment ratio in higher education? Option A, 15 to 20. Option B, 18 to 23. Option C, 20 to 25. Option D, 17 to 22. And option E, 19 to 24. So what is going to be the correct answer? It is going to be the B option, which is 18 to 23 years, right? Now again, very factual question, there is nothing to explain, so that's why I'm moving on to the next one. Where was the 49th meeting of IOSCU held? Now IOSCU is something that is directly mentioned as a part of your syllabus, so you are expected to cover it, right? You need to go for the current affair also, and you need to cover the static portion also, right? So when was the 49th meeting of IOSCU held? So option A, New York. Option B, Paris. Option C, Tokyo. Option D, Athens. Option E is London. So with respect to D, this one basically D is going to be the correct option. It is basically the Athens, right? So that was something asked as a part of economics and social development. Now if we talk about economics and social development, the number of questions were not many, right? Limited number of questions were there, and you can see that from economics hardly there were 2 questions, this question and the second question, right? And third question also, 3 questions were there. But do not think that this trend is going to repeat in 2025 also. I have already shared the most important topics with respect to IFSCA that you must cover on a priority basis, and over there I have discussed that how many number of questions were asked in 2024 and 2023. So that will also give you a good comprehensive idea that what has been the weightage with respect to these components. So you can watch that video also in our playlist, and that is also going to help you, right, in order to optimize your strategy. Now let us move on to the last component from my end. After this, Jared sir is going to come and he is going to discuss commerce and accountancy, costing, and this management component. So which 8-time Olympic gold medalist has been chosen as the ambassador for ICC Men's T20 World Cup 2024? So it was Usain Bolt, right? So B is going to be the answer with respect to this question. Nothing to explain. You just need to see the answers with respect to GK questions. Which health insurance scheme in India aims to achieve universal health coverage? We all know it is nothing but Ayushman Bharat, right? So C is going to be the answer with respect to question number 43. What is the name of the reusable launch vehicle for which ISRO conducted the third landing experiment on June 23 at the Aeronautical Test Range in Chitradurga, Karnataka. Chitradurg in Karnataka. So the answer is going to be the B option, which is Pushpak. Now question number 45. Which organization received the name Statio Shiv Shakti for the landing site of Chandrayaan 3 Vikram lander? Option A, IAU. Option B, IAC. Option C, UNOSA. Option D, NASA. And option E, European Space Agency. So for the question number 45, the answer is going to be the A option, which is International Astronomical Unit. Now question number 46. India secured the 134th rank in 2022 Human Development Index. In which category was India placed? High, medium, low, very high, or below average? So for question number 46, B is going to be the answer, which is medium. Question number 47, which of the following is not a social security welfare scheme by the government of India? So the first is Pradhan Mantri Shram Yogi Mandhan Yojana. Option B, Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Yojana. Option C, Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana. Option D, National Social Assistant Program. And E is Kaushal Vikas Yojana. We know that all these schemes are nothing. They are for the purpose of social security. We know that. But if we talk about E option, E is for what? It is for the skill development, right? Not for the social security. It is for the skill development. So yes, E is going to be the correct answer to this question. Question number 48. Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana focuses on which levels of healthcare? Primary, secondary and tertiary, primary only, or tertiary only? Again, if you have covered Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, you should be in a position to answer this question. We know that it is for the secondary and the tertiary level only. It is not from the primary level, right? So C is going to be the correct answer. Question number 49. The aspirational block program launched by the Pradhan Mantri January 2023 aims to improve 500 blocks across how many states and union territories? So how many states and union territories? It was basically 27 states and 4 union territories. As identified by whom? As identified by Niti Aayog. So that is going to be the answer. Question number 50. What was the growth rate of India's real GDP during financial year 2023 to 2024? So 8.2, 7.5, 9.6, 7.0 and 6.8. So if you have read, I would say, if you have read economic survey, or even if you have visited budget document with respect to this year, so you should be in a position to answer this question, right? So with respect to this one, question number 50, the correct answer is going to be the D option, which is 7.0%, right? So that is going to be the correct option. I hope it is clear to you, and I hope you were able to understand the nature of these questions. And in case if you want to see the weightage, right, what was the weightage that was given to each and every component that was asked as a part of paper 2 phase 1, what you can do, I have already told you the most important topics video that we have already uploaded. You can watch that video. Over there we have discussed in a detailed manner that basically how many questions were asked from which component, what are the most important areas that you must cover on a priority basis, be it as a part of the static portion or the current affairs. And that is it from my end. After this, Jalad sir is going to continue this session. So thank you so much and all the best for your preparation.
So now my friends, once Jaskaran sir has completed his part, now I will start with my components, wherein I will be covering management, commerce and accounts and costing. Okay, so first we are starting with management, and in management, if I'm not wrong, there were 4 questions in the I would say IFSCA phase 1 paper 2 of the year 2024. Now first question is on your screen now. Try to read it. Feed forward control is essentially dash in nature. Now we all know that there are 3 type of controls in management. First you have feed forward, then you have your concurrent, and then you have your feedback, right? In feed forward control, in your feed forward control, you try to anticipate the problem which can come in future. So therefore a feed forward control is predictive in nature. You try to predict that what can go wrong in the future, right? So the correct answer over here will be will be option number D. Okay, whereas if you see concurrent control means what? Concurrent control basically means that if a problem comes, I will try to sort it down hand to hand. I will not wait for future time to come. So it's like a problem arises, and I try to solve it in a very simultaneous manner, right? But if you see feedback control, mind you, I am using feedback control. In feedback control, you try to solve a problem after a period of time. So let's say today a problem came into your organization, but will you try to solve it today? No, because this is feedback. In feedback, you will take some time to solve it. So generally there are 3 type of controls: feed forward, concurrent and feedback, right? In feed forward control, you try to anticipate the problems which can come in future, therefore it's predictive. In concurrent control, you try to solve the problem as soon it arises. So it's like a problem come and I'm trying to solve it on that particular moment itself. And in the feedback control, you try to wait for a problem to come first of all, and then you try to solve it in the future period of time. Therefore the correct answer over here will be option number D. Next question. Who proposed path goal theory? Now path goal theory is something which we read in leadership tip, right? Now see, Douglas MacGregor you can definitely avoid because Douglas MacGregor has given you theory X and theory Y. Elton Mayo, again, you can ignore because this person has given you theory Z management style. Victor Vroom also you can remove because this person has given you expectancy theory of motivation, right? So Douglas MacGregor, Elton Mayo, and Victor Vroom are the persons who are involved in motivation theories, right? Robert House is the correct answer because Robert House has given you path goal theory of leadership. Fred Fiedler has given you leadership contingency theory and not path goal theory, right? So even if you have not covered path goal theory, you should remember that who has given this particular theory because certain questions which are easy in nature can be asked in your exam. Therefore, the correct answers over here will be option number D for the first question, and for next question it will be option number B, right? Let's move forward to the next one. What type of informal communication involves an individual communicating with the selective people whom they trust? Now see, over here the key word is whom they trust. Single strand, grapevine, chain, cluster, or wheel. Because of the keyword of trust, the answer will be option number D. Because in cluster communication, you try to communicate only to those people whom you trust, right? Single strand means what? That you are communicating in just single line, right? Grapevine means that you don't have any fixed way of communication. It's like totally random, right? Chain and your single strand are kind of same, only chain basically means that either it's going downwards or either it's going upward, but it has to happen in a kind of a vertical manner, right? Same concept of single strand also. Cluster, I have told you that you communicate on the basis of somebody whom you trust. Wheel communication is like you have somebody in between. It's like the central most communication. So you have a person who will act as a center point, and everybody will be connected to this particular center point, right? So it's like a leader is present over here, right? And let's say there are 3 or 4 or 6 different people who are sitting in a group A, B, C, D, E, F, right? Now if A wants to communicate to D, then the message will pass through center. If D wants to communicate with B, then again the message will pass from center. So in wheel you have a centralmost point wherein the communication pass through, right? So therefore the correct answer of this question will be option number D. Which of the following terms refers to the harmony and mutual understanding among the members of the organization? Come on, try to give me the answer. Division of work, unity of command, scalar chain, spirit de corps, authority and responsibility. The correct answer will be option number D, spirit de corps. Spirit de corps was a concept which was given under the 14 principles of Henry Fayol, isn't it? And one of the last principle of Henry Fayol contribution is spirit de corps only. Spirit de corps basically means what? That you have a great morale in your time. Everybody in the team is having good coordination and the productivity is also increasing. So both the answers over here will be option D and D. So these were the 4 questions which we have seen in your IFSC Grade A Phase 1 Paper 2, and according to me all the 4 questions are easy, so you should have got 4 out of 4, or at minimum you can say 3 out of 4 as well, right? Now let's move forward to commerce and accounts. In commerce and accounts we have multiple questions to discuss. Question number 1, first of all, and yes, don't focus on this the total index number because this is as per the actual paper, but right now we are discussing the component wise question, right? So first question of commerce and accounts: which accounting concepts guides that a firm shows expenses and income on the same accounting period? Very easy, this is your matching principle, isn't it? Even if I have not read the options, I could have still answered it, because going concern is not making any sense over here, because going concern means that I'm running the business for indefinite period of time. Consistency means that you are using the same accounting principle for number of years to come, right? You are not changing the accounting methodology every now and then. Matching is the correct answer because as per matching, you shows the expenses and the income of the same accounting period in the same balance sheet or in the same P&L only, right? Accrual and maternity are again 2 different concepts. Accrual basically means that you have to focus on the point, right? You do not have to focus on when the cash is coming. It's like when the transaction took place, you have to record it. You do not have to wait for execution part of it. Materiality basically means what? That you are only recording those stuff which are important for the accounts, and you are not focusing on the irrelevant stuff for the business, right? So the answer over here will be option number C, which is matching. Right. Now let's move to the second. Again, very easy question. Which of the following is an example of current assets? Accounts receivable. Yes, it is a current asset. So I will mark my answer as option number A. Patent, buildings, land and machinery are kind of non-current assets. And if you see, patents are your intangible assets too. Building is tangible, land is tangible, machinery is also tangible. But the question was clearly asking you that which of the following is an example of current asset. Current asset is basically that particular asset or a property of your business which you can convert into cash within less than 1 year. An account receivable you can definitely convert under less than 1 year. Account receivables are sometimes also known as debtors. These are the people from which I have to receive money into my business. So more current assets, yes, it's very good for your business because you have a lot of current property. Right. Next question. High inventory turnover ratio indicates what? High inventory turnover ratio indicates a positive thing. Mind you, inventory turnover ratio basically tells you that how quickly you are able to convert your inventory and how quickly you are able to send it forward to the customers. It's like the operation cycle. So if you are having high inventory turnover ratio, it basically means that you are doing something good things. So answer over here will be option number C. Right? Overstocking of inventory will be the case when you have low inventory turnover ratio. Overstocking means what? That the goods are lying in my godown and I'm not able to convert them. The raw material is not getting converted into final goods. So definitely A will not be the right answer. Ineffective sales not making any sense. C is the correct answer which I have told to you. D and E are not again making any sense. So according to me, the first three questions of commerce and accounts are looking easy to me. Now let's move to the next one. What does a low PE ratio with high growth potential indicate? See, growth, if you have high growth with low PE, PE is basically the ratio which tells you about the ratio between your current market prices divided by your earning per share, right? And if you have low PE, but your high growth, then it basically means that the company is undervalued. Undervalued means what? That in future, this particular company can give you higher returns. As simple as that. And this is something which we teach to you in the ratios chapter, like how to analyze a ratio. For example, if you have a current ratio which is 3:1, your current asset is 3 and your current liabilities is 1. This means that this particular company is going on the right track, because anything which is above 2:1 in the context of current ratio is considered as good, right? Anything below 2:1 is considered as bad in the world of current ratio. In the same context, if you see for price to earning, if you have a low PE right now but your growth potential is very very high, it basically means that the company is undervalued right now and in future it will give you a very good return. So the correct answer over here will be option number B. Next question. Calculate current ratio from the following data. Now they have given you current assets directly and current liabilities also, but to confuse you, they have given stock as well. Now see, if they give you current asset, it basically means that they have included stock into this current asset, right? So you don't have to add it separately, right? Now try to calculate current ratio. Now current ratio is what? Current assets divided by my current liabilities. Current asset is directly given to me as 5 lakh. Current liabilities is given to me as 7. So divide 5 by 7, right? Your answer will be option number A, which is 0.71. So the correct answer will be option number A. Now this is the level of numericals in your IFSCA phase 1 paper 2. So don't worry from numericals. You can just get your answers within seconds or within minutes also if your calculation is not good. But if your calculation is good, then you can score very high. Moving forward, next questions. Towards the next question, I mean, what changes does the fund flow statement? Now see, this is a very fundamental question. Fund flow statement largely talks about your working capital only. So the answer will be option number C. Now this is the first thing which you read under fund flow statement. Fund flow statement never tells you about profit and loss. It never tells you about your shareholder equity and liabilities, because that stuff is shown into your balance sheet, right? So the answer over here will be option number C, which is changes in the position of the working capital. And yes, what is working capital? Working capital is the difference between your current assets minus your current liabilities. So I can see that your IFSC authorities or the IFSC exam conducting authorities focusing a lot on the basics of commerce and accounts. What is the formula of time interest earned ratio? Now this is again very basic. If you know the formula, then only. Time interest ratio will basically show you the relationship between your EBIT and the interest. So it's like how much earning before interest and taxes divided by the interest expenses. So the correct answer, if you see, will be option number D over here, right? And EBIT is what? Earning before interest and taxes divided by your interest expenses. Now, even if you don't know the formula, then yes, you can skip it. But if you know the formula, then yes, this would not take that much of time. But I will take this particular question as tough. Why tough? because many students don't do ratios for commerce and accounts. And at the same time, if you are doing ratios, you focus on basic portions like current ratio, quick ratio, cash ratio, debt to equity, interest coverage ratio. We don't focus that much on times interest earned ratio. Therefore, I'm marking this question as tough. But if you see largely all the questions which we have discussed so far, they are kind of easy to moderate only, except for this question, which is time interest earned ratio. Moving forward to the next questions. What is the maximum percentage of sweat equity shares that can be issued by the company? Now, this is a very fundamental concept directly taken from the Companies Act. Now, if Companies Act is not mentioned in the syllabus, it doesn't mean that they will not ask you the questions. They can ask you a basic question like this. So, the correct answer will be A, 25%. 25% is the maximum percentage of sweat equity shares that can be issued by the company at a given point of time. Now, this is pure theoretical. There is nothing much to explain. When can a debenture trustee appoint a nominee director to the board after a company defaults? Now, see, if a company is defaulting, then definitely a debenture trustee, who is a very higher authority in a company, can appoint a nominee director on the board of the company to do what? To protect the interest of the debenture holders, or to protect the interest of multiple people who are connected to the company. Now, a debenture trustee can appoint a nominee director only after two consecutive defaults. Mind you, the word is consecutive, so it's like one after the another. Therefore, the correct answer over here will be option number B. Right? Moving forward to the next one. What is required for second reappointment of independent director? So if you are reappointing your independent director, that will definitely be done with the help of a special resolution. Now, if you see, all these questions are somewhere connected to Companies Act only, but in IFSCA you don't read Companies Act, right? But basics, so I think you should be covered up, because that will give you an edge in commerce and accounts. But don't worry, Companies Act is not directly in your syllabus, so you can skip these questions in the exam also, because you just need to get 40 in your paper 2, right? And 40 you can get easily by multiple other components. So don't worry, if you are not doing Companies Act, leave it. But if you can do, then definitely it's like a kind of a safety net which you will bind for yourself. Now, moving forward to last two questions of Companies Act. What not Companies Act, Commerce and Accounts, sorry. What will happen if a right issue is not subscribed and not re-announced? Definitely the contract will lapse. The contract will cancel out itself. So the answer will be option number B. Simple. According to according to Indian Accounting Signal 16, when depreciation is charged on the asset that has been revalued, till when the depreciation starts on the asset that has been reevaluated. So it will be charged till the useful life of the asset, right? So your answer will be option number D, till the useful life of the asset. Now again, if you see, these are theoretical questions. There is nothing much to explain. Either you know the answer or either you don't. As simple as that, right? So question number 28, I will take it as easy because this was common sense based. Question number 29, I will take it as moderate scale because many people are not that much, connected to the accounting standards. So I will take question number 29 as moderate, but again, it was kind of normal in nature if you know the basic concept of depreciation. Moving forward to the costing questions. Now in costing, again, there are not much questions. Commerce and accounts we have discussed a lot. Now in costing, let's discuss the first question. What is the cost of production? How is the cost of production calculated? The correct answer over here will be option number B, which is direct material, the total cost which you are giving on material, plus the direct labor, plus the factory overhead. Again, based on your basic concepts, I hope you remember it. We have already covered it multiple times in the course. What is the size of the batch of production where the total cost of setup and holding cost are minimized? So this is your what? Option number E, economic batch quantity. Remember, what is the size of batch of production where the total cost of setup and holding cost are minimized? So we are talking about a batch, not an order. Therefore, the correct answer will be option number E over here. Next question. What type of process loss is not allowed to affect the cost of goods units? So this is a kind of a very easy question, which I would say scrap loss. Scrap loss is the process loss which is not allowed to affect the cost of goods unit. Now all these are theoretical questions, my friend. If you know the answer, then you can mark it. Otherwise, you have to skip it. Last question. Which of the following is used in margin of safety calculation? Which of the following is used in margin of safety calculation? A very easy answer, which is option number B, which is actual sales minus your break even sales, right? So the answer over here will be option number B. So that completes our overall, I would say, my friends, the overall questions of IFSC Grade A Phase 1 Paper to 2024. Now, if you want to go for IFSC courses of EduTap, you can go for it. Right now, I'm showing you that what we are offering for IFSCA. You just have to go on edutap.in, go in the courses of IFSCA. You can see that we are having multiple courses, but right now, if you want to practice a lot, then IFSC Phase 2 test series and Phase 1 plus 2 test series can help you a lot. And currently, we are offering 75% off. The code is Festival75, all capitals, right? So this is our total website information. You can go and know more about it. But if you want some recorded classes, some live classes, then phase 1 plus phase 2 recorded crash course is also a good option to go for. Right, my friends? So that completes a total understanding for all the different topics which we have to discuss in this class. Thank you. Now I will end this video. I will meet you in the next one. Till then, be happy and stay safe.